Welcome to Glow Yoga and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Natasha, Glow's founder, a yogi, a graduate of spiritual psychology, and a creator of a sustainable self-care program for graceful aging. In today's episode, I wanted to bring back my personal favorite topic, the challenge of anxiety and how it can affect our relationships without us even realizing it until it can be too late. I will share more about relationship between stress and anxiety, 7 signs you might be experiencing traumatic stress, and 7 ways how our concealed anxiety can be ruining our relationship and causing many other difficulties in our life. First, I wanted to start with this reminder. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. And if you're experiencing any challenges in life, whether it's your relationship or substance abuse, inability to concentrate, or you procrastinate a lot or anything else, you're whole no matter what. All challenges you currently experience are golden nuggets, the pointers that will help us see how to take better care of us. There are lots of pseudopsychology out there that use the words like manifesting, finding your purpose, or negative energy. I want to remind you that the only purpose we have here, as far as we know it, is to live our human life connected to the state of presence and maybe be more aligned with nature, learn from nature, connected to the present moment, whatever comes with that. The only thing we need to change about ourselves, our discomfort with being comfortable, being okay with our own selves, raw and real, undistracted, like the redwood tree or the bird that's sitting on it. In the last few years, since my anxiety flared up during pandemic, I dove into research to truly understand and heal it within me once and for all, I thought. What I discovered during my experimenting and practicing and just understanding it more is nothing less than fascinating. Every day I was feeling of new doors opening up, like, wow, I didn't think about this connected to that. And as you practice self-care, breath work, morning practices, you having the chronological memory of what affects what. So you become more clear about what action causes what reaction, and your anxiety is very related to the amount of your stress, and you know what you did yesterday because you have same routine every day, self-awareness practice. I finally understood how unmanaged unconscious stress can turn into traumatic stress, and that puts rocket fuel onto our anxiety. How in the past relationship anxiety affected my past relationship, I was having a really hard time to commit to a partner. I would always think of the worst case scenario. I'm like, no, I don't want to. Today, I know when I'm anxious, it first shows up in nightmares. Nightmare is the first thing that usually comes when I become too stressed or overstimulated, overwhelmed. And then you can notice pessimism, but that's hard to notice when you're pessimistic. Pessimism usually, and then being controlling or judgy. You never really know when you're controlling unless someone tells you that. Those are my signs: nightmares, pessimism, and then being judgy or controlling. Like I want to minimize the risk. So I don't want to try anything new, or I want to have it only my way, or kind of literally minimize the risk of the unknown. So that also shows that I'm a little anxious. Yesterday morning, for instance, I was woken up by a nightmare where I was with my mom hiding from rockets falling on our hometown. It was so vivid. Oh my God, it was terrible. I woke up from that dream. I was like, whoa, okay, it's 6:30 a.m. It's like, that's how my body wakes me up when I'm anxious. And when it happens, I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit too anxious. I need to slow down and to do maybe longer breathing. I'll hum before bed next few days and make sure that everything calms down. Yesterday, I hummed the bumblebee breath. It was amazing. I slept so well. Maybe 10 minutes. I kind of hummed myself to bed. It worked for my nervous system. That is just a recent example I wanted to share. So I woke up from the nightmare, and a reminder that there are many people who experience in this dream in the reality right now. And I felt so sad, and I prayed for all the wars to end. Things do end, so let's focus on the end of it. Maybe people will realize this is so ancient and unnecessary, and their way of safety goes through collaboration, and maybe one day we destroy all of the metal weapons. Let's learn from the non-violent part of nature. Like, how do other species survive and collaborate? This is me rambling around my dreams. I've experienced incredible breakthroughs through my daily self-care practice. I see it much more clearly now, and today I carry so much more compassion and appreciation for my nervous system that has been quietly running in the background and deciding for me throughout my whole life. So when my nervous system is relaxed and I feel connected, I feel more courageous, and I'm very optimistic, I'm unstoppable. And then when my nervous system is out of balance, is too much worrying, too much news, then I'm pessimistic. I'm not as excited, my energy is depleted. And I specifically talk about nervous system and not the brain or heart or beliefs. Nervous system includes the brain, heart, and beliefs. Think of it as an autonomic software that keeps us safe and alive by controlling all of our physical parts and their function. It's like an operating system, iOS on your iPhone or Windows on your PC computer. And just like our devices, our nervous system sometimes gets stuck in a particular mode. We have that fight and flight and rest digest. Those are two main modes. Please listen more. I will share the 7 signs that your nervous system, your operating system might be stuck and need some help. I also will list the 7 concealed ways our unmanaged anxiety affects our relationships. Know that stress causes anxiety. They come together like summer and picnic, preferably with triple cream brie cheese, if you ask me. Okay, where we're now. All of a sudden, I'm thinking all kinds of delicious foods. Our nervous system affects our physical function, our organs, our muscles. It affects human psyche because it affects our hormones and absolutely every one of our emotions, decisions, actions, and inaction, procrastination. Speaking of decisions, most of our unconscious human decisions are based on coping, surviving, and avoiding fears, real and assumed. Survival first. When our nervous system is under immense amount of stress, it tends to run more on imaginative assumptions than on reality. You can be in a great place in your life, but if your nervous system is overstimulated, overly active, you may face a lot of difficulties in day-to-day existence, even though you have all of your needs met and you are safe. All of our decisions and emotions secretly are guided by our stress and anxiety. And the biggest takeaway here is that no talk therapy or understanding ourselves can change our nervous system unconscious mechanisms if your body is running that fight and flight state. The nervous system is much more ancient response before language was even, I think, used by the human. We can shine a light, we can understand our patterns and what's going on there, but to shift our behavior, we would need to balance our ancient nervous system itself. And that requires daily physical commitment and time to do some self-care practices. This is a science. Now we know what stimulates, what activity stimulates parasympathetic response, what stimulates sympathetic response. So you want to just do those activities that bring you to the parasympathetic to balance. So you're not only running on stress, which we all do, and I'll explain you how and why. And also, if you are working with therapists or counseling, do ask them for homework, for the actual daily practices that they would recommend to help you regulate your nervous system. Again, we can read every book on human psyche and understand ourselves, but to change the ways our glands firing the hormones that affect our moods and actions, that is boots on the ground kind of work. It's kind of work that takes dedicated time, day-to-day commitment. Put yourself to a different nervous system state. I do need to mention prescription medicine too, and it goes beyond benzodiazepines like Xanax and Valium. Those are just prescribed for anxiety, but unmanaged anxiety and traumatic stress also cause ADD, sleeping problems, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, sexual dysfunction, skin, gut disorders, and of course, addiction disorders. Imagine the total prescription mass of that. Everyone and their Instagram followers are on some kind of unmanaged stress symptom. 7 signs of traumatic stress. Here we go. If you are experiencing even one of those signs, these symptoms, do call the alarms. Not 911 just yet, but not only our relationships can be affected, but we could also be headed towards a health crisis. Okay, here are the 7 signs of traumatic stress. Traumatic stress sign number 1, feeling easily irritated, pessimistic, reactive, ready to blame others, easily seeing faults in others, and acting aggressive. Say someone had criticized us or told us what to do, and we are responding harshly to defend ourselves. You like me every day. That is definitely our unmanaged anxiety that is speaking harshly to respond. On the other end, we're upset with disorderly house and nagging for 1,000 times for our family to help out, right? You're the other end. Here's anxiety that is nagging. So there's anxiety talking and making the other person anxious. Or we are controlling our loved ones to do things our way, best way. Hello. It's also anxiety. So you're controlling, minimizing risk. You're anxious. You're a highly stressed person. So that's a sign of you experiencing traumatic stress. Number 2, sign of traumatic stress. Inability to be still, appreciate what we have, deeply relate to ourselves and others. It's a sign we are stressed out. It's when we constantly seek out other people's presence or approval, or spend most of our free time going out, chasing social events, or being on the phone, talking, scrolling, or watching TV. This is when we become prone to infidelity, speaking of relationships, looking for another partner, more exciting connection, and obsessed with what's there, but not what's here. That's a sign you might be experiencing traumatic stress, chronic stress. Sign number 3, we have low quality sleep. When we wake up tired or have intrusive thoughts that prevent us from sleeping, thinking, right? The moment I put my head on the pillow, all of a sudden I figure out all the solutions to the world's problems. Or bad sleep sign is when you have horror dreams. That is a sign we're under lots of stress. We have low quality sleep. All those are signs, whether intrusive thoughts prevent you from sleeping or wake up tired, you did not have quality sleep. All the signs of traumatic unmanaged stress or chronic stress. Sign 4, difficulty concentrating and or staying organized. Seems like projects are piling up, not much is getting done in one day. And some type of constant mess is always present. Different kind of mess, right? It may be not something you've noticed right away. Could be your files a mess, maybe you're losing your phone or breaking your screen constantly, keys are getting lost regularly, or your house is misorganized. There is something out of order, a little messy in your life, and it's repetitive. So if you have that, you will definitely experience in most likely some kind of traumatic stress or overly stressed. Sign number 5, craving unhealthy foods and other medicine to self-soothe. When we feel like something's missing, or we feel bored when we are sober, craving unhealthy food. So that's a sign you're stressed out. That is sign number 5. Number 6. And the last 2 signs, the 6 and 7 of stress I want to mention, is when It's already shown up in the physical body. So you can actually measure it. You see it. Wow, it's breaking down. You're breaking down. 6 is chronically elevated heart rate or blood pressure, maybe even panic attacks, right? Experiencing cardiovascular health issues. Heart is running from a tiger all the time. That is seizes sometimes. You get panic attacks. It's just overworking heart. You're in fight and flight for too long. And another physical number 7 sign of traumatic or chronic stress is having digestive issues, like your tongue is always not working or something, because that will actually cause stress too. I'll talk about later. So definitely here, the having digestive issues, maybe skin issues or autoimmune conditions. Here we don't know chicken and the egg, but when your body is breaking down, you're also feeling physically stressed because your hormones are not functioning well and the mood is really affected. So you get anxious too. Your body is asking for help and becoming anxious. So please rewind and listen to the 7 signs we might experience nervous system disbalance, which is overly stressed, chronically stressed, or even traumatically stressed, which is, again, doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you. It only gives us the understanding that we need to make time for self-care and implement daily routines to support and nurture our autonomic nervous system. Our computer, hello, needs cleansing, updating, and resetting. It's time. Love yourself so much to do the work, to give yourself the time every day. And I will give you a few ideas what kind of work in just a few minutes. Now that we know that we might be dealing with an overly active, dysregulated nervous system, let's see a few common examples how it can affect our current relationships. We're talking about relationships here with anyone. Which one of the 7 resonates with you and rings the bell? I'm curious. The worst effects of unhealthy stress and anxiety are violence, control, verbal, emotional, physical. Please do everything possible to work with professional help if you're experiencing any of that. Keep safe. And the second worst effect of unhealed anxiety and stress, second worst is us feeling upset a lot, being unsatisfied with our partners and blaming our distress on our loved ones or coworkers or the stranger in the next car. 2 worst effects when we're not managing our anxiety. Here are 7 concealed signs of when our anxiety is affecting our relationship. Oh, if that will happen, it's my anxiety. Notice if you can recognize one of the 7, if it resonates with you. Those are just things that I came up with. I like the number 7, as you can tell. Okay, first one, you experience anxiety. It shows us we raise our voice when talking while upset. This is an anxiety moment. We raise our voice, we're anxious, our fight and flight is on. You're anxious, calm down. Second way our anxiety affects our relationship is we check in on our loved ones, maybe check in too much, but we worry something's bad will happen. That's anxiety. Check in or constantly obsessively thinking about making sure everybody's safe. It's anxiety running your brains. Number 3, how anxiety affects our relationships. Honesty and commitment are a challenge when we're anxious. We're having relationship anxiety. For instance, we can worry that we're not attracted to them or won't be attracted to someone, or we made the wrong choice, or infidelity, inability to commit. Those will show up in relationship if you have anxiety disorder of any kind. Then sign number 4, how our anxiety affects our relationships, is we overthink their words or words that are not said, and we get upset. How dare she said that, or how dare she did not say that, something like that. Our overwhelmed brain, when we're anxious and not managing our anxiety, can make a friend a foe. I love that phrase. Friend, a foe. Anyhow, 5, 5th sign. Intimacy does not exist. We are not sharing about our financial challenges, our dreams, our fears, our desires. Just hard to share those things that you only tell to your closest friend or nobody at all. So that is also shows anxiety. You're afraid they're not going to love you, accept you. Anxiety relationship. The anxiety way number 6. We doubt their abilities or intentions. It's when you want to go to your place of your choosing because you know you really like it, but you're kind of being closed-minded. We're not willing to explore other people's places, ways. So you kind of have that pessimistic outlook. You know that your way, you love it already, is guaranteed. You have to fight with that anxiety. Say yes to the new place. It's always going to be fun. That's my lesson, so I don't do it very much. Number 7 way of anxiety, we blame them for making us upset by doing things their way, like they always were doing and always will be doing. Like the driving, like the shopping, like working out, like the laundry, the messiness around the house, and so forth. So when we start or blame them for our discomfort with their ways, it's anxiety talking. Calm it down. Okay. If you resonate with any of that, can I tell you it's actually rather good news. The good news is that now you know that there's nothing wrong with your loved ones. It's always been you. And the more precisely, your anxiety and vice versa. It was never you, and it was their anxiety, unmanaged anxiety running wild with the wind. You might be outraged now, as I was. If you read those 7 points again, you kind of have to process it a little bit. When I realized that it's totally up to me, I was outraged to deal with their risky decisions and how they eat and exercise. I'm like, whoa, that's not my job. That's not my job to worry. Oh my God, I was relentless. My older sister hated when I used to interject my opinions about her life, or how many sleepless nights I've had when my mom was drinking too much, in my opinion, just worried. And how many times I irritated my ex who really did not like exercising. And on the receiving end, when people are demanding you to respond to their text ASAP, or they're blaming you for some things, or they're distressed, open your heart. We gotta open our hearts to meet their anxiety too. That person is also anxious, right? It goes both ways. You're listening to this podcast, you're trying to understand yourself. We are all good people who are simply having a hard time with our stress sometimes and anxiety. Right? There's nothing wrong with it. We have to learn. Take it to heart and try to practice. Just next time it shows up, it will show up. You worry and, wishful thinking, it is not changing anything. Okay. So what causes our anxiety? What causes traumatic stress? What causes our nervous system to misfire and go unbalanced? And the $1 billion question, can we avoid it? When we experience day in and day out stress like high adrenaline sports, or being a first responder, or being situated in a war zone, or living in an abusive household, you have to tend for yourself constantly, or working in an unsupported environment, taking care of an unwell loved one, or when we survive a terrible life and death traumatic event. It's too much, it's out of balance, too many hormones running your body under fight and flight. And it's very important to know that we are very social beings and are affected by others in distress. So knowing about people struggling, watching the news, horror movies, or talking to stressed loved ones causes our anxiety and stress as well. It's only so human. We have so much love. We don't want anyone to suffer. All those events and many others cause traumatic stress and keep our nervous system in the unbalanced, overly active state. Also, fascinating fact, sick body can cause anxiety. Our physical body, when in distress, will flare up in anxiety. For instance, when we eat shitty and not exercising, not having good sleep regimen, our body will cause our brain and hormones to misfire, and cause mood disorders, including anxiety and depression. So physical body breaking down stops producing quality balanced hormones. As you can probably guess by now, there is absolutely no way we can avoid stress or anxiety. Simply being a human means you'll be touched by sleepless nights, heartaches, and worries about the future. How you will greet, meet, and treat your anxiety, your stress, can make all the difference in your life. We can get smarter and start by minimizing or eliminating completely the things that contribute to stress, that elevate those levels. Adrenaline activities, so different hormones, watching news, scrolling, staying up late, consuming THC and other drugs, and filling our calendars full. Sit down and find some other ways, because your life is very personal. See what you can start by eliminating, like little baby steps. That's it. I think eliminating one thing, changing one of your habits and what you do every day could be easier than adding something. Just start there. Be smart. To recover from stress, overly active nervous system, think of adding those parasympathetic activities every single day. There's science behind it. I'll list you a couple, but you can just search, what can I do to activate my parasympathetic state? Google search it. Here are some examples that help me: reading a book, meditation, focused breathing, humming, any kind of yoga, slow walk, solo, not talking to anyone, gardening. Oh, I wish, I really want to garden. Playing an instrument, my sound baths, I love playing instrument, it's so relaxing. Enjoying foam rolling or other nurturing quiet time where you're not talking to many people. What could you add into your day to unwind, to soften down your nervous system? Think becoming mushy mushy. Or think of this 3-step path and make it custom. Do whatever you need to get yourself on the other side of anxiety, and do it regularly, right? Never stop. First step, add to your life in any kind of way, your custom way, is to take at least an hour break every day from screens and talking. 1 hour. How can you do it? Number 2, second step, we're gonna think about those 3-step paths. So I invite you to think of each one of them as a must. It's a path, 3 steps. At least 1 hour break every day from screens and talking. 1 hour, figure your way. Number 2, connect to your body for your body to be healthy, brain healthy, hormones healthy. Both step 1 and 2 are mandatory, which is an hour break from screens and talking, quiet time, no screen. And step number 3, also important, make space for your feelings. Find a way to express them that is harmless. It just helps you understand yourself and be real with yourself, like talking to your family member, or see a therapist, or write about your feelings, or create art. Well, in any way, create music or write a song or paint it. Those are 3 steps that help me and give me time to make sense of everything and see what I need and what I need more of and less of as I live this human life in San Francisco. Okay, how about a little practice right now? I recently finished the book by Gay Hendricks and really love this mini meditation he offered in the book. Taking a few deep breaths. You don't have to close your eyes, but if you feel safe, you can close your eyes and repeat to yourself for a few minutes. I'm expanding in peace, abundance, and kindness every day as I inspire those around me to do the same. And you can add your own words, what you're trying to expand, not contract. So it reminds us not to stay contracted, fearful, blaming, and instead peaceful, kind, in feeling of abundance. Expanding, not contracting. One more time. I'm expanding in peace, abundance, and kindness every day as I inspire those around me to do the same. That is a reminder that you inspire others by simply being in your presence When you are in your presence, you show others and make them comfortable being in their presence. Repeat 3-5 times, take a few minutes for practice, and do it in the morning or at night, and anytime you feel agitated or worried. To summarize this episode, we all get anxious. You are not wrong or bad to be anxious. Anxiety is a protective response of our nervous system to threats, imagined or real. While we cannot protect ourselves from anxiety-causing moments, can control it all, we can learn not to act or speak harmfully while we're in the hands of anxiety by taking a few breaths or repeating a calming phrase or stepping away when possible, taking a break, calming down. We're here to learn how not to harm or stress or control others while we're anxious. Improving your relationships, not destroying them. Please listen to my other anxiety episodes where I offer a few breathing exercises that help me keep my anxiety down low day in and day out. It's a regular practice. I have a morning coaching group that we do movement and breathing practices. It's so important to have regularity in your life. To manage your anxiety too regular is good for your brain. Monday through Saturday, we get together for 25 minutes and I host it live. I recently made the recordings available on Glow Yoga SF website for subscription. And I'm so proud of you for staying curious and learning new ways of taking loving care of what you have been given as a gift and inspiring others to do the same. Remember that healing is application of love and care to all the places that hurt, and that consistency daily is key. If you enjoyed this podcast, please pay some love forward by leaving your 5-star review. I really appreciate it. Tell me what you enjoyed. And if you have any breakthroughs in your anxiety realizations, it will help others find this podcast and hopefully start getting to know themselves and feeling better. Sending you love, health, and peace from one and only San Francisco. Until next time.